In the course Univ 190, Service and Social Justice Program, Mark Anthony guided members of the Bridge program, including myself, to become better leaders in society today. Through service hours, reflection, and readings, this class highlighted the different types of leadership, what makes us a leader, and how we can use this information to better our community in the future. One thing Mark Anthony pushed our class to do was to reflect on our identity, specifically race, gender, disability, or economic status, and how each respected identity can affect our leadership. For me, I struggled to feel as though I fit into the role as a leader. Unintentionally, I found it was because of my identity. I'm a female, and the leadership roles I strive to achieve have been predominantly male ruled. Being talked down to over time has led me to feel as though I am not meant for said roles. However, overcoming these stigmas is what makes me a great leader today. The Univ 190 class has helped me overcome these specifically. So for my final Express project, I have interviewed 4 other individuals and asked them, how has their identity affected their leadership? How have they overcome these obstacles? And so on.
My name is Laura Becker, and I am an assistant coordinator at Lakeview Pantry.
Okay, cool.
I think it can be hard to be taken seriously as a coordinator because I look young, and I am kind of young, and I'm a girl, so there's been, some people, volunteers, or even the guys who deliver our food have made comments like, oh, can you really lift that, and stuff like that, which doesn't bother me that much, but it's not appropriate for them to say. Mm-hmm. And with some of the volunteers, I think they don't, also because I haven't been here that long, but while Carrie was out and I was the main coordinator, they would sometimes ask me about something and I would tell them, and they would try to ask someone else or try to do something different. So people don't necessarily believe what I say, or they want to, maybe they don't like my answer, so they ask someone else. And there have been a couple times when volunteers kind of try to undermine what I say or try to say something else, but that's more of an issue with individual volunteers who want to take control. Mm-hmm. They don't understand why we have certain policies, and so they want to get around them somehow. Yeah, I think that's it. Everyone has to work in whatever identity that they have, whether they can relate with certain things or not. So I can't relate to a lot of the things our clients deal with, but approaching them from a position of hospitality is still appreciated, even though I can't relate with them necessarily. I have to repeat myself sometimes if they're not following what I ask them to do. It helps when my coworkers back me up, because if somebody tries to get a different answer from them, they're just going to get the same answer if I already told them.
Yeah.
And if someone does say something that's a bit sexist about, are you sure you can lift that, or something like that, don't you ladies have a man to help you unload these boxes? Then I just tell them, like, no, this is my job and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Corbin Davis, and I am an African American male.
My name's Allie Barrett, and I am a white female. I think I totally agree with the whole gender thing. Like, I know for me, when I was like a captain in high school, it was so easy because it was an all girls team. Like, that was it. So we were all the same. Like, there was sort of a balance of equality. But then, like, you go up against males, and like you don't notice it, but there is like an intimidation factor that comes along with it. Like, I was afraid that sometimes I'd be overpowered, or it's just so easy for them to take over, and like you just don't really notice it. And then like also with like race too. Like, race is such a big thing. Like, for me, it wasn't super big in high school because I was like a majority white school is where I went. But here now, like, noticing it, it's like I can do so much that I want to do. If I wanted to take over something, or like be a part of something, I can easily ask and do it.
Yeah.
But if somebody like if someone was black and they wanted to do it also, I'd most likely get the role over them. And I think that's just insane.
How do you feel towards that?
I feel like race is, the most important thing for me, just because, I mean, I didn't notice it when I was younger or when I was in high school, because, I went to a predominantly Hispanic school, and it's pretty much the minority. But, coming here, it's been very difficult trying to find peace, trying to find a place, just express myself. And that comes with, being a minority and being such a small percentage of the student body here. It's very difficult, but I feel like now it's getting to a place where I don't really need to worry, I guess. There was a situation where I was in elevators here in Mertz, and somebody had wrote the word nigger on the elevators, and I felt completely disrespected. They put a derogatory tone on an elevator with, barely any black students here.
Yeah.
So seeing that, I felt like they were coming after me, just in a small way, just nigger. And I didn't know what to do. I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
And I went to RAs and just told them, yo, this isn't right. Can somebody change this, fix this situation? And they came through and did what they have to do. I mean, I just took that as you think it's funny, but it's just showing your true colors. That just shows that's the type of person that those people were, that they're immature. They don't really see the real importance of or the effect that word has on people. And I just take it as okay, I'm better than that, so
Yeah.
you can't really affect me.
I think we always see, I don't think people on a regular basis use their identity. It's only maybe when you're going in for a job opportunity, you use it. If I was if you were a guy, you're a guy, so you're a guy. You go in and you're going up against a woman, you're gonna would probably not even without noticing use the identity of the fact that I'm a man, I'm somehow bigger or better, so you use that intimidating factor kind of thing. And I think the best thing to do is just you have to keep an open mind and be aware of the diversity around you, because if you're not like that, then you're just gonna kind of be stuck in this bubble, and you're never gonna grow from that. And it's all about growing and have that growth mindset of just yes, I'm this, but I'm not gonna let this completely run my life. Even if it's for the good for yourself. You have to be selfless in that sense.
Yeah.
She pretty much I have nothing to say to that. That was pretty good.
My name is Maddie Drusher, and I identify as a cisgender heterosexual white female of an upper middle class, able-bodied, agnostic. I don't know what else you want.
You're good.
I grew up in a very, privileged environment where I was supported by family and teachers and mentors and things like that to pursue leadership roles. And I've always kind of been seen as a more masculine female, so going against the stereotype of being a female as a leader, or we don't typically see, females aren't typically seen as the authoritative figure. We're getting away from that now, but I've never really had difficulties pursuing or achieving leadership roles in different realms of life. So because being a female is one of the strongest identities I've held, I'm very aware of the difficulties that some females face in that realm. So, but I personally have not encountered many of the hardships that I think other females who are pursuing more authoritative roles within their fields have.
Mm-hmm.
I think the things that have made me what I consider to be a good leader, or at least have sent me on the path of like attempting to be a good leader, have the things that have like shaped that have been my experiences as more of a follower. So observing what other leaders do and seeing how it makes me and the other followers or members of the group feel. So as a leader, well, rather as an individual, I'm more of, I tend to give my opinion. A lot of the times I do feel like I have a lot to offer the conversation. However, that can become stifling to other members if you're in a position of authority within the group in whatever capacity it might be. If you're constantly giving your opinion, if you hold some sort of leadership position, it may be taken as kind of the law of the land. So while I do kind of naturally drift towards being like giving my opinion, I try and be cognizant of being inclusive to all members and making sure all members are being heard and like providing that middle person role if there are any conflicts within the group of kind of resolving those to the best of my ability. But I think it's also purposeful to recognize that members within a group all kind of have that natural thing, I guess, they drift towards. So where I drift towards giving my opinion more, there are other people who are going to feel more natural in the realm of inviting people to the conversation. So recognizing that too, and pushing people to step outside their comfort zones, but also emphasizing where people's strengths are too.
Mm-hmm.
I think an identity can play a huge role in how the leader kind of member exchange takes place, or how a group functions, and how the group's goals are executed too. For example, if you have a group whose job in some capacity is to, voice the concerns of a minority group, but the group is made up of the majority, right? Those identities could get in the way of executing their mission. In the same way that if the leader is a cisgender, heterosexual, white male, he may have a much harder time sympathizing, but especially empathizing with, a transgender, homosexual, black female.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are two very different realms, and they're two very different experiences. And if the proper time and energy isn't placed into understanding both of their experiences between one another, that can create, tension within the group of how one of those individuals handles conflict or just executes their work. So I think identities in terms of like the interactions within a team are incredibly important, and it's important to be aware of your social location and to be aware of other individuals' social locations as well. So and that awareness can, it's not going to solve everything, but it can reduce the lack of understanding between members where sometimes we have this we have these overlooked stocks of knowledge of what of how people should, again, vague example, but of how people should deal with criticism. But one person of a certain identity might be able to handle blunt, harsh criticism much easier than a person of another identity, where they might need it kind of like to beat around the bush, or for it to be more of a dialogue about what they can do better, as opposed to being like, hey, this is what you did wrong, do it better next time. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all very vague examples, but identity 100% plays a role in the inner workings of a team, and then in how that team is able to execute their goal and relate to their mission. And I think a way to reduce any complications there is to that the first step is like awareness and having those open dialogues, and then moving forward from there to be able to empathize and sympathize with one another.
Mm-hmm. Okay. According to the work Readings for Diversity and Social Justice, Bobby Harrell writes, "The obvious first leap that people make is the assumption that if we just begin to appreciate differences and treat each other with respect, then everything would be alright and there would be no oppression in regards to identity." He then follows this by saying, "It should be that simple, but it isn't." Through this course, its readings, service work at the Lakeview Pantry, and self-reflections, I have found that identity plays a role in the obstacles a leader can face. However, it can be overcome by dedication, work ethic, and strength, shown by the following individuals I have interviewed. In my opinion, anyone can be a leader. What makes a great leader is the understanding of their own obstacles and overcoming them. I've overcome my own through student government. Today I am currently the chair of my committee and speaker pro temp, and I am also a female. I hope to continue to apply the information I have learned from these individuals in the course throughout my life.